fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration, Monday night edition. I'm going to have the Wolf on. He'll be on a little bit later, but it's going to be Monday from now on until after the election, all right? Renfro has denied all of James's leave without pay requests, just arbitrarily denied them for the rest of the damn year. And so we're having to do a lot of our meetings on the weekends. So if you listen to the Lion's Den this morning, you heard me tell about that, how much we appreciate those branches and other individuals making their meetings on Saturdays and Sundays. We cannot thank you enough for that. We want to get to as many places as possible. They're going to do as much as possible to prohibit us from doing that, talking about the establishment. We're going to get everywhere we can, all right? If it's during the weekday, James is having to go in like 8 in the morning, do a full 8, and then he will leave, fly out to where we're going, meet that night, and then fly back in the morning and then go to work. So, but those are sacrifices we're going to make, all right? We're going to win this thing. We're going to leave it all out on the field. So we're changing the schedule for 8 arbitration, Mondays. We're going to start doing them Mondays, all right? Because I won't be able to do them Sunday because I believe he said that there's 2 Sundays in between now and August that we're home, okay? So I'm just going to start doing them on Monday night. Y'all can listen to them on Tuesday. I hate that, but that's just how it's going to be, all right? I'm going to do some house cleaning real quick. Could get a little volatile, but that's all right. Little house cleaning, then I'm going to have the Wolf on, and then I'm going to be back and I'm going to do my salted peanuts. I got a lot of screenshots, a lot of things I want to talk about on that, okay? So I'm going to do some house cleaning, have the Wolf on, and then I'll be back on, and I'm going to talk, got a couple of grievances we're going to talk about, and then a lot of screenshots, just things that are going on, because most of the stuff that I talk to y'all about now, I was doing a lot of educating initially, based off of things that I've done, things that I have gone through. Most of the stuff I talk about now are things that I've gotten off of social media and people have sent me. And then I'll discuss them with y'all because, like I said, if it's going on a few 3 places, more than likely it's something that's going to start picked up around the country, and I want us to deal with it, all right? Social media, well, first off, yesterday, Mother's Day. I hope all you mothers had a fantastic day. You deserve it. A lot of new mothers out there, and so I hope you enjoyed it. But to all the mothers out across the country, thank you for everything that you've done. Mine is a fantastic woman. She is a rural carrier, has been retired for quite some time, but she's is the true definition of woman, a hard worker, loves her kids, family first, a fantastic lady, hard-nosed, old school, but a fantastic mom, fantastic lady. So to all you mothers, I hope you've had a fantastic Mother's Day yesterday. JB will be back on within the next few weeks. All right, he's had something in the hopper for a while. It was something I was going to do. He sent it to me, and this is normally how it'll happen with JB. He's so advanced. He'll send it to me, and he'll be going over with me, and I'm just thinking, damn it, why don't you come on and do it? So this next one, he's going to come on and do himself. JB is advanced. That dude is skilled. And I know that a lot of y'all love JB. I'll tell this story. It's funny, and I told JB, but we were at some place visiting, James and I, and we always take questions afterwards, and normally we'll shut the place down. We're the last ones out. But this individual was talking about the podcast, and he's like, Corey, I love the podcast. And I was like, I appreciate that. My favorite part of the podcast is JB. I said, okay. I said, yeah, I love JB, man. He's done a lot of great things. JB has taught me, I brought JB into the game, I taught him Formula A when he was just a steward, but he's far surpassed me at Formula A. And I said, he does a lot. He helps me a lot. Yeah, so other people are talking about JB, and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I could listen to JB for 3 hours. I was like, yeah. I said, me too, man. He's fantastic. So I'm looking around. He's like, and you know what? He's like, JB is, I said, damn, I get it. And so everybody laughed, of course, but I'm like, I feel the same way about JB that y'all do. Trust me. But yeah, it's like, damn, baby, I get it. You like JB, damn. But no, JB's fantastic, and he'll be on in a couple of weeks and talk to y'all about some PTF stuff. So we got Mother's Day, JB. Social media, my social media especially. When you get on anything from 8 Arbitration, understand this. Now, I approve a lot of things. A lot of people going after me, I'll approve it. Why? That's your opinion. I don't care if you come after me or whatever. There are certain things I won't tolerate. I'm just not going to tolerate them. And you can be pissed off at me. You can run upstairs and tell your mama that I kicked you out. But there are a few things I will not tolerate. Okay? So just know that if you're going to come on to From 8 Arbitration community or whatever, I'll approve just about anything. Even if it starts out, because I can see a snippet of what you're saying. If it says Corey's a piece of shit, I'll approve it. Okay? Let y'all hash that out. A lot of people think I'm a piece of shit. I'll approve that. Certain things I will not tolerate. I will not tolerate you attacking women. And I will not tolerate certain words. The P word. The P word is numero uno. If you say that, if you type that, any form of that, I'm kicking you off. All right? Most of the time it'll be for 3 days. If you do it again, I'll ban your ass. Now, y'all can talk about free speech and all this other shit. I won't tolerate it. All right? So just know, I let a lot of people on there. A lot of people that come on to From 8 Arbitration are not fans of mine. They're on there to just sow discord and stuff. That's fine. Trust me, that's fine. Hey, when I was at Ackland Station 30 years ago, a guy named Red Baird, and I talked about him on Richie Ray's podcast. He was a childhood friend of my dad and my uncle. And he would talk to me every day, but I was on somebody one day, and he looked out of his case and he said, "Hey, Corey." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You could irritate a steel ball." And I took that as a high compliment that I could irritate a steel ball. So, hey, I'm in this game. I played it a long, long time. You know, people talking shit about me on social media. That's fine, man. We'll go at it all day long. I have a good time of it. But I will not tolerate the P word. Okay? If you say it, if you type it, any form of it, I'm kicking your ass off. You can get salty, bitter, cry, whine, bitch, moan. I don't care. Like I said, you can run upstairs and tell your mama that Corey kicked you off. She can't help you. You say the P word, you're gone. All right? Period, bottom line. Just say that to everybody. Had that brought up this past week. Had to kick this poor kid off that is not a fan, but he loves to tag me in every single thing, which is fine. I don't respond to most of it, but then he hit the P word, you're gone. All right? So, yeah. Social media. Be careful on here. I've got a lot of people. And another thing I won't tolerate. You going after my wife. I had a kid. His name is Zach. And he's made all kind of different Facebook pages. Most of them are Akron or conservative letter carriers things. And he hates the CLC and all of that. His name is Zach, and he started harassing my wife on Messenger. That will instantly get you a visit from the Tooth Fairy. I'm just telling you, you will not fuck with my wife. Period. Bottom line. You can come after me all you want to. Fair game. I put out myself every week. I put myself out there to be ridiculed, and that's fine. Like I said, when I started this, I took that on. You go after my wife on social media, on Messenger, and harass her. Visit from the Tooth Fairy. You're gonna be a rich person, and so that person's name is Zach, and so you'll see he'll create a different Facebook page all the time about Akron something another, or conservative letter carriers or whatever. There's levels to this. There's levels to this. All right? Be careful. Be careful. But, yeah, social media is a crazy, wonderful thing, ain't it? It's a crazy, wonderful thing. Also, I'm going to touch on this again. A lot of hubbub about the violation of law on campaigning on the floor, and I'm going to touch on this one more time and I'll be done with it. Somebody had told me that somebody had put out a video saying that it was BS and they had asked for permission to go on the workroom floor. It's a violation of law. It's a violation of the fucking law. And anybody looks it up will tell you. Now here's why it pisses me off. Two reasons why it pisses me off. And the CLC is going to handle it. But James Henry's going to win. And it won't be close. And write this down on a piece of paper. James Henry will get over 50% of this vote if you have 3 people running. Okay? If you have 4 or 5, it'll go down just a little bit. But it'll be around 50-something percent. The others will share 20-something percent like that. So people are like, why do you care? Here's why I care. Take out the person that's blatantly violating the law by campaigning on the workroom floor and handing out literature and soliciting votes. And they're using people that work at National, their credentials to get on the floor to campaign, and then also using their vehicle to drive places to campaign. That's a violation of the law, okay, labor law. The Department of Labor will get involved, okay? When you do that, when you blatantly violate the law, and there's videos everywhere of you doing it, shared by everybody of you doing it, it doesn't concern you. You're going to lose. Who it helps is Renfro. Renfro's relying on 2 things, and anybody up there will tell you that this has been said. Retirees who are not going to vote for him. They're not going to vote for him. And a spoiler to take enough votes away from James to help him slide in there. That's not going to happen either. There were not going to be enough votes split to keep James from winning. However, what they can say is, say Renfro, for instance, look, there's been blatant violations of labor law during this entire process. It's on social media, it's everywhere. So I'm going to ask the Department of Labor to come in and overturn the results of this election because I wasn't allowed to do it. Somebody else was doing it. And who's going to stay in office while all this shit's figured out? Renfro. So you're delaying the fucking process of us kicking this motherfucker out who has been a detriment to us because you're too fucking stupid to know the law. And that pisses me off because we're doing a lot of shit right now. We're everywhere right now. Letting people hear us, ask us questions, staying a long time so that we can boot this motherfucker out. What you're doing is you're going to get the Department of Labor involved, and if they overturn this thing because you're blatantly violating the fucking law, this motherfucker's going to stay in there until it all gets resolved. So yes, that pisses me off. And those that don't give a fuck, that's on you. I've got about $50,000 invested in this. More importantly, of my wife's money invested in this because she's fully behind it. So once y'all have that kind of shit tanked into it, about 50 grand, and you see somebody constantly out there violating the fucking law, come talk to me about it. It doesn't matter. Come talk to me about that. We've been guided since day one on what we can and cannot do. I know individuals put pictures of James on floors. All you got to do is contact the Department of Labor and have them investigate. Not once has James Henry been on the workroom floor and campaigned. Not once has he handed out literature of the CLC. Not once has he solicited a vote. Because we cannot campaign on the workroom floor on or off the clock. We cannot do it. And when you're doing it, you're helping the incumbent. Why? Because he's going to lose miserably. But he can say, hey, look, I need the Department of Labor involved in this because this individual has constantly putting online on social media him blatantly violating the law. And he made another video saying that the law is fucking BS and that he's asked permission to be on the floor. You cannot ask permission to violate the fucking law. That's like me telling the court, hey, I had permission to steal that car. You can't ask for permission to violate the fucking law. So the CLC is protecting themselves. Renfro is aware of it. We made sure of it. So if he does go to the Department of Labor, we can say, hey, we put them on notice long ago that this was going on. They've not done the first damn thing. Do you know why they haven't done the first damn thing? Because they need this individual in the race. They have to have this individual in the race. Why? To try to steal votes away from James. They need him in the race. He has to be. That's the reason they haven't addressed it. The Postmaster General is aware. He is aware that this is going on. Why is that important? Because the carriers are on the clock. While they're listening to this, they haven't done anything. So we're covering our bases if the Department of Labor gets involved with this thing. But I'm not taking that shit lightly, man. I've got $50,000 of my money, my wife's money, invested in this thing. James Henry the same, on credit cards, so that we can travel the country legitimately. And so, yeah, it pisses me the fuck off, especially when you come back with that bitch-ass attitude of this, let me address this BS. BS. Violating the fucking law is BS. So anyway, that's the last I'm going to talk about it, but somebody had said that there was a video out there of an individual saying that it's BS about violating the fucking law, and they asked permission to violate the law. Ask permission. God dang. What in the fuck is going on? Ask permission. Holy shit. Anyway, but yeah, the only person that helps is Renfro. The Department of Labor gets involved and amends or alters or overturns that decision, that vote. The only person that helps is him, because he'll stay in fucking office. Maybe that's the intent. Maybe that's what that's what this is all about. I don't know. But anyway, there's some house cleaning. Hey, I got the wolf on, James Henry. He's going to come on and talk to y'all just a little bit. He'll be the next president of the NLC. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it whatsoever. Give two shout-outs real quick. We, James and I love going places. We love going to union meetings, talking with people, the enthusiasm, the passion. Let me tell you, after every meeting, people say that they're energized. Y'all have energized us. Give us hope. We've listened to everybody. Some people talk over us. Y'all talk straight to us, man, and told us what you're going to do. A lot of people come in here and talk over us. They just talk. And you're the only ones with a plan. That energizes us as well, because we're tired. we're tired. Trust me. But leaving those things, James and I will always talk about how that energizes us as well. Okay? Just the response. But you got Branch 210, Rochester, New York. We went there last week. A fantastic meeting. It was packed. And James and I got to speak there and loved it. A lot of enthusiasm there as well. Those carriers, that's a great branch. And those carriers lined up to talk to us, to ask us questions. If they weren't sure about things, have a lot of people that say, hey, before y'all came, man, we weren't sure. You know, especially about you. I've said that before. They'll point at me, especially about you. And but they were relieved, and obviously when they say, "Hey, you got our support," that means the world to us. Branch 578 in Savannah, Georgia, went there as well. A fantastic meeting there. You had people coming up and say, "Hey, man, we drove 4 hours to come down here. We drove 2 hours to come down here. We drove an hour and a half to come down here." And to be able to speak to them, the enthusiasm there as well was second to none. Had a fantastic time. I got to give a shout out to my man Bobby Moore, who picked us up. We stayed at his house and had a fantastic time, man. Now that guy's is Union Plus. Union Plus. He wears many hats in this union. Just graduated from advocate training, and it's about a 45-minute drive from the Union Hall to his house. And the entire time he was picking mine and James's brain about arbitration, openings, questions, closings. For 45 minutes straight, man, we talked with each other about my ideas on things, James's ideas on things. That's what I always talk about. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? Because every bit of it is up to you. Every bit of it is up to you. You want to be good? You can be good. You want to be average? You can be average. Do you want to be great? I want everybody to be great. That's the reason I'm doing this podcast. I want everybody to be great. I don't want anybody to just be average. That means you're putting in average time work. I want everybody to be great. Because if everybody is great, our union is great. If everybody's great, our union's great. Bobby Moore is going to be great. Why? Because he's putting in that time. 45 minutes straight, we talked about nothing but arbitration. Why? Because he just graduated from advocate training. So he wanted to, not that I'm the best, but I've done a few. James is the best. He's done many, about 80-something% winning percentage. It's easy to get up in front of people and talk that shit. It's easy to get up in front of people and talk that shit. When you're sitting in that arbitration room, mano a mano, with management, with labor, the best they have, in front of somebody neutral, in front of somebody who has no idea what they're listening to until they get there, and you put on a case, labor feels just as strongly as we do about winning. They think they're going to win or they wouldn't be there. And you put on several hundred cases and you got about an 83-85% winning percentage, that's insane. That's somebody who is persuasive in their arguments. That's James Henry. So if I was ever going to learn from somebody, it'd be him. So yes, Branch 210, Rochester, New York. Thank you very much. Branch 578, Savannah. Thank you. Tomorrow, we'll be in Buffalo. Buffalo, New York, going back up north. We'll be in Buffalo, New York. Of course, y'all know David Groskopf is the president there. That guy will be another trustee. He's fantastic. I love that individual there. And so, yes, we'll be there tomorrow. Y'all make sure y'all come out and see us. Of course, y'all are probably going to hear this tomorrow, so come out tonight and see us Tuesday. All right? There will be probably one or two more tickets. Okay? Probably not full slates. There's a lot of confusion going on right now amongst things. But we're hearing, and generally where there's smoke, there's fire. We're hearing at least one, maybe two. Now, the establishment, the people who have put Renfro in power, have turned their back on him because he's a complete failure. But they still want to stay in power. They still need to stay in power, so they're going to put a slate together, a semi-slate. You got Rolando, who's going to run for trustee. That's known. He's announced that. He's been telling people that. But he's also got his hands in it. He wants to make sure that the establishment, the status quo, does stay in power. They're not going to have some outsiders like James Henry and Corey Walton come in there with a slate and kick them all out. So they're going to start trying to put some kind of semi-slate. You're probably going to see business agents, maybe a couple of resident officers involved. And so you're probably going to see that. I imagine that they're going to have to come out soon, I imagine, because they got to get out on the streets, start beating the streets. But, Rolando, this same one who gave us Table 2, same one who gave us the CCA position, and same one who gave us Renfro, is trying to get together some form of slate. So he was a good president, man. He was a good president. But anybody who gave us Table 2, anybody who gave us the CCA position, and especially anybody who gave us Renfro, I have to question their ability to make reasonable decisions on things as far as the city letter carry craft. Table 2 has destroyed the city letter carry craft. Why? Because you gave us the penthouse and the outhouse. That's what you gave us. Now, the top level, we don't make near as much as we should, right? UPS making 49, we should at least be making 50. We do more than them. Period. There's no discussion on that. You cannot have entry-level carriers coming in at poverty wages. You cannot have entry-level carriers coming in at poverty wages, and that's Table 2. The discrepancy between the top and the bottom is pathetic. It's pathetic. That falls back on Rolando. That falls back on him. The fact that you could look at that and think that that was acceptable. The CCA position at the time, they thought it made good sense. It has been antiquated. It is antiquated position, but it's cheap labor. It's cheap labor. And so obviously the Postal Service wants to keep cheap labor. Obviously. They're smart for that. Hey, if I could pay them $10 an hour, I would do it. It's up to the union to fight for Table 2 and the CCA position, and we have failed miserably in doing that. And it's his protege, Renfro, that's keeping this going. You saw in the latest update on collective bargaining updates, talking about more holidays for the CCA. Terrible. Terrible. Not the more holidays, but the fact that we've already conceded the CCA position. To me, we've drawn a line in the sand with the CLC, James Henry. Got to do away with Table 2. We're going to arbitration over that if that can't be accomplished. Got to do away with the CCA position. We're going to arbitration if that can't be accomplished. You cannot continue to put my carriers in poverty, and expect us to go along with it. We're not going to do it. And so, yes, Rolando's getting together a slate. It'll probably be a semi-slate, maybe some resident officers, some MBAs. You know, their names have been thrown out there. And that's going to be, even though he's running for trustee, it'll be the Rolando slate. Okay? Because I'm telling you, they are pissed at Renfro for being this big of a fucking failure. But you had to know the kid is smart. But he's smart about things that we don't give a fuck about. You're not smart about us, the city letter carrier. That's the only thing I want you to be smart about. The city letter carrier. Why? Because you work for me. I don't give a fuck if you're smart about all this other shit. Be smart about the workroom floor and about the city letter carrier. All that other shit will fall in line. Everything. You had to know when the guy was a raging alcoholic, and you hid that from us. You hid it from us intentionally. You hid it from us. Why? How do I know that? Because in the Weir report, they knew it. They were dealing with it over and over and over again. You have MBAs that may announce that knew for a fact that Renfro was an alcoholic. We're out there getting him out of the bushes. They all knew. They all knew. Now, James wasn't up there. I've seen people say, well, he was there. James wasn't there. He was in California. He came in with Renfro. He had no idea about him being a drunk laid up in the bushes. There are others that are going to announce that did, and they need to be questioned about it. Why did y'all let us vote for somebody that you knew was a raging alcoholic, a womanizer? Why was that? Those are questions that need to be asked for people that are going to run, especially somebody running for a trustee position. If Rolando gets on any podcast, somebody needs to ask him, why did you hide that from us? That Renfro was an alcoholic, and you put him in front of and charge of the greatest union in the country. And you thought that that was smart? You thought that was wise? He can't say that he didn't know. It's in the Weir report. I'd read it to him. So I look for another kind of semi-slate, semi-ticket to come out. Okay? We'll call it the Rolando slate. But you'll have others. You'll have others, because it chaps their fucking ass that James is going to win. It chaps that ass. And there's not shit they can do about it except cry. Except cry. So, yeah, the one who gave us Table 2, the CCA and Renfro, is actively trying to put together a little bit of a ticket. And so we'll see how that works out. But James is going to win. Don't fret that. Like I said, it'll be over 50-something% he'll get. And the next ones will be around in the 20%. Okay? And that's what we're seeing. That's what's going to happen. All right, here's James Henry, the Wolf. And when he comes on, I'm going to start putting him up front. Okay? Last time it was an hour and a half I put him on, and I didn't like that. I listened to it. I was like, don't do that to the man. I'm going to put him up front, and then I will talk about what I want to talk about next. Okay? So here he is, the Wolf. James Henry wanted to come on and talk to his people a little bit. I'll talk to you on the other side of it, all right? All right, I got the Wolf, James Henry, in studio, but he's in Washington. What's up,
In
my brother?
Washington, they said, man, I'm doing all right. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. It's always good to have you on, my man. Every time you're on, people always message say, please have him back on. I was like, well, man, he's busy.
And so, but you're back on today. I wanted to have
Yeah,
you on because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, places we're going, things that we're doing as far as the CLC, and then you've got a gripe about the OT. And so you said, yeah, I can give you a minute. You're going on about 90 minutes of sleep in 2 days. Is that
yeah,
right?
that's about right. That is about right, brother. That is literally. So I am running on fumes right now, but it's okay, man. It's life in the big city.
You made time for me, and I appreciate that, brother. You're probably like, damn it. But
Yes, sir.
the Sandman standing behind you,
Man,
he's ready to hit you over the head.
man, he's gearing up for a drop kick right now.
Well, I won't keep you long, but there are some things that I wanted to talk about. Um, we went to a couple of places last week. Now I've got you right at the beginning of my episode, but I talked a little bit about Rochester, Branch 210, and the Branch 578 Savannah. Two fantastic visits. Everywhere we go, though, James, it's awesome. And I say that, people always come up to us afterwards and say, "Man, y'all have energized us. Thank you." But it energizes you and I too. When we talk afterwards, you're like, brother, we're gonna run through this tape.
Absolutely. And and that's really the interesting thing here. There's no substitute for person-to-person interaction.
Yeah,
And it is important that people understand that we genuinely care, brother. This isn't no political move on us. We understand what's necessary to be able to get our message out and for those to carry our message, but to be also able for those individuals that interact with us and have the opportunity to talk. And as you have mentioned before, and we talked about, there is not a time that we've gone anywhere that we've cut anybody short. And so when you hear this nonsense about everybody deserves to hear from their candidates and for one in different forms, it's not a nonsense about hearing from your candidates, but we are making ourselves available to everyone and as long as they want to talk. Like I said, we've shut places down where they've cut us and kicked us out of the building, where we went out and moved to the parking lot and out there till 11:30 at night and having to get up and getting back to the hotel 12:30, 1:30 in the morning and getting back up at 3:30 to get a plane at 4:30, five
yeah,
o'clock in the morning. It is really important. But here's what I love about it. As you said, it motivates us, you and I, and anyone else on our slate that come. Others come periodically, such as Kemitra Lewis, such as Dave Grosskopf, and John Cruz, and Paul Bolanger. There's and just plenty of people that's on the slate that has gone with us. But when it comes down to it, we are invigorated. We are uh, rejuvenated and energized ourselves simply because we can see and feel their excitement as well. We can see and feel that what we are presenting to them, that they are receptive to that. And like I stated to you before, brother, that we cannot, meaning anyone, you can't fake authenticity. We're for real. We are for real.
yeah,
And whether it's 2 or 2,000, it doesn't matter to us. We have gone wherever we've been asked to go to the point where we are overbooked. We're like these airlines and everything else, man, trying to make seat and room for everybody. And we are solidly booked, particularly on the weekend. And we're grateful for the branches that said, you know what? We understand your circumstances, that you're booked solid. We understand that you're out of leave and everything. We understand that, you know, in my instance here, that my request for leave without pay to be able to go sometime during the course of the week has been disapproved. And as such, they said we'll adjust and adapt and we'll have a function for you over the weekend, whether it's a Saturday night, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday afternoon. And we've been doing that. And so I'm just really, really excited about the excitement that our people are experiencing out there, that there is genuinely a change. And when we say we got their back like vertebrae, that is absolutely the case.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I talked a little bit. I put up Paul Bolanger's Lions Den episode. I'll talk a little bit about the Lions Den in a second. But and I talked about how we're having to adjust our schedule. I'm having to adjust my from 8 arbitration schedule to Mondays because Renfro has denied all of your leave without pay requests. And so we're having to do a lot of our visits on Saturday and Sunday. And how many did I send you today? 3 or 4 reached out today just off of that Lions Den episode saying, hey, Corey, we heard that. Our branch is willing to adjust to have y'all come on the weekend. That's what's humbling, brothers. When you hear that, you see that they were coming in. I was sending them to you. I said, hey, I'll send this to James right now. Where people said, hey, we'll adjust our schedule to have y'all come out. My people want to see y'all.
Yes. And it's been very, 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 I like to say, humbling. And we don't take it for granted. And this is not something that is just a one-time shot in terms of us being uh, receptive to the needs of our people and trying to hear what they have to say. When we get in office, that won't change. We'll essentially have an open door policy as it relates to anyone that wants to speak to the executive vice president of the NLC, the president. We will make sure that we get back with them and be able to do that. And it's interesting that, we're traveling and going so much that is taking some time to sift through some of the messages that we have and be able to get back because you said, I'll get up and getting to work early to be able to do my time and be able to leave, to be able to go if I can get to some place during the course of the week. And like I said, when we left Rochester, and firsthand, came into work early that morning, did my time, then got a late flight out. So we get a nonstop to get there. And we got to the meeting, maybe 10 minutes before it started or something like
Yeah.
that. And then we get back to the office, not to the office, get back to the hotel and then bed about maybe 1:30. And then I was back up at 3 to be able to get to the plane at 4:45 so I can be at work at 6 o'clock 2:30 so I can be out of there and catch the plane down to Savannah, Georgia that evening. But it is a labor of love. I want everybody to know that this is not belly aching by any stretch of imagination, but I'd rather be in the position that we are in than not. I'd rather people be uh, craving and desiring to see and talk to us than not. So, we're going to do everything that we can. And unfortunately, it's just every single one. I mean, we are literally have way more requests than there are days between here and the election. And we still doing everything we can to try and squeeze them in. Some of them, we got a couple in the same day over the weekend. So we have one here that's coming up where there are going to be 2 branches that's saying, hey, well, since you can't come to ours and there, they've decided that they're going to do a joint venture and have us come out, So we're looking forward to that. And that seems to be, if it works out, branch 28 and branch 9 out of St. Paul, Minneapolis. That just tells you, everything that you need to know about how this movement is for real, brother.
Yeah. And then you have, you go to Savannah and you have Bobby Moore come at first class treatment, and
Absolutely.
we've had several people, some that we've had to cancel because right when you got your leave without pay done, when it was denied, we had to cancel some, but they were reaching out saying, hey, y'all can come stay at our place. But Bobby Moore was like that, a fantastic union guy. That dude right there is top notch. He came and got us from the airport. We stayed at his house. And, brought us back the next day. It's things like that when you and I are really old, James, and we're looking back, we're eating, we're eating dinner at 3 o'clock, and we're chopping it up about, hey man, remember when we was running back then? And these are the things that you and I are going to talk about is the constant trips, but the hospitality that's shown to us, having us come and stay in their house. We've had others that do that. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. We say we
Well,
love our people, and that's what it's all about, man. They're showing that love too.
well, I can tell you, going back to the first person's home that we stayed at on this journey was our guy, Michael Bowders out of Denver, Colorado. And we cannot forget about him. And we're very, very grateful in terms of extending his personal home to us and had not met us ever. But that's how confident he was in us. And we were really eternally grateful. And there has been, like you said, several others that have made similar or same offers to us. And like I said, the most recent is uh, is our president and vice president out of Savannah, Georgia, Bobby Moore and Tammy Sweeney. We were grateful that they offered their home to us. And I mean, with just the Sunday before, I know unfortunately you weren't able to make it because you had your son's wedding. But when we went out to Lehigh Valley, you know, with my man Bill Kriebel and Tom Sir and uh, um, Tina, how they really just opened their arms and received us and treated us well to the point where they made me a homemade pineapple upside down cake. And Savannah says, you know, I see your pineapple upside down cake, and I raised you too. And so we had a pineapple upside down cake as well here at down in Savannah, Georgia. But it's just indicative about everyone is trying to now play their part in whatever way that helps us be able to continue to come out and see them. And it is really when someone offers and opens their home to you, that speaks volumes, brother. That's
Yeah,
an honor and that's a privilege. It really truly is. And like I said, we don't take it for granted. And so we had a great time down in Savannah, Georgia. We had a great time up in Rochester. And I want to give a shout out there to uh, the former president there, Kenny Montgomery, who came and took good care of us. Monique Mate, who's the president, and for Kenny taking us close to midnight to get a garbage plate that sat on our stomach, pretty heavy, but it was worth it, man. It was definitely worth it.
well, that's good stuff, man. But what's funny is when we go to people's houses, there's no late night chit chat. It's hey, hey, this is your room, and it's 5 minutes, baby. We snoring.
Yeah.
There's no sitting up, man, drinking coffee or whatever, talking. It's this is the room you'll be staying in, and you shutting the door.
Yes, brother. And like I
Yeah,
said, these people are just extending themselves, taking leave to be able to take us to their airport and pick us up and just
yeah,
things of that nature. And so, like I said, we're grateful, my man. And so
yeah,
we want to say thank you to everyone to this point that we have been to their branches and whatever, whether it's just going out and having dinner with us, whether it's just sitting down and having a soda with us and talking with us, to opening up your homes. We are grateful eternally, and we'll never forget it.
yeah. So tomorrow we have Branch Three Buffalo. This will come out
Yes,
tonight. Most people hear this Tuesday, but it'll be Tuesday. We'll be in Branch Three Buffalo. We got my brother, Mr. David Groskopf, his branch, who'll be a trustee. I believe Miss Kamitra Simpson Lewis is going to be with us there as well.
yes.
And then Sunday we have Van Nuys, California. That'll be 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's Sunday.
Right.
It'll be a picnic, right?
Yes, it's a picnic, and so that's a good opportunity to just really kind of interact with our peoples, and it's important that we continue to make it to as many places as we can, and and I'm really excited about Buffalo tomorrow. This is one of the last ones that we there were some that I had put in for leave in advance that was approved, and then all the other stuff is gone. But here's the deal, Dave Grosskopf is running for the position of national trustee, and I think he will be a really ideal and phenomenal uh, uh, representative in that capacity. But because he's on our slate and because he's our homeboy and because he's been traveling with us, it's really good to be able to go there and be invited into his circle with his branch and show him some love and show the membership some love there. So I'm really, really looking forward to going there.
Yeah,
Even though
me too.
his Bills, been performing better than my Raiders over
Well, that's
over
not
the
saying
last
a whole
couple of
lot.
years. I know, man.
Then we got May 24th. May 24th, we're going to be up in Milwaukee with Rob Kosher. This is a meet and talk with Corey Walton and James Henry. It's a baseball game, sixth annual Milwaukee Brewers versus Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, all the tickets are sold. All the tickets are sold out, but he
Wait, I
still
need for you to
has,
say it again. The who? The Los Angeles Dodgers, the World Series champions. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, man. So there could not be a better game for me to attend. In addition, that's just the cherry on the Sunday, going out there and being able to hang out with the people and with our guy, absolute stalwart, Rob Kosher, the president
yeah,
of Milwaukee. Yeah. It's
yeah.
the tailgate
But
as well, right?
yeah, so the tailgate, though, you can still come to the tailgate. Now, the tickets are sold out. You can still come to the tailgate. The tailgate starts at 10:30 a.m. The game time is at 1:10 p.m. The tailgate is $20. It includes food and drinks. You have food and drinks included, a 50-50 raffle. You can call or text Rob to reserve. It's 414-379-7350. It's 414-379-7350. And that's the tailgate only because the tickets are already sold. But he's still selling tickets to the tailgate. It's $20 for the tailgate. It starts at 10:30 a.m. And so y'all come out like it says, it's a meet and talk with Corey and James, and we'll be out there. Ask us anything you want. Talk about whatever you want. Just like in Rochester, we were the last two out of there. We had lines of people lined up, talking to us, asking us questions. Everywhere we go, it's the same way. We always shut it down. So if you got any questions for us, even though it's something that's a baseball game, we'll talk shop. Whatever y'all want to talk about, come out there. But and I'll announce that again. But yeah, Rob, want to put that out there that the tickets to the baseball game are already sold, but you do have tickets to the tailgate. So come out there and tailgate with us, and just be surrounded by a bunch of brothers and sisters that love it.
Look forward to going and attending that event. So absolutely. And anyone that is around and even come tomorrow, we are certainly encouraging you and inviting you to come on out, have an opportunity to talk with us and ask us anything that pretty much so that you want. So, when you find out that we're going to be somewhere, make it an effort. Make it your business to come join us.
Yep. All right. I want to rotate off of this a little bit. There's one of the things that you run on your platform, you're the only one running with this, is education. And
Yes, sir.
everywhere we go, we talk about it. You're one of the most decorated individuals in the NELC history as far as arbitration, education, things like that. Your record speaks for itself, but your passion, one of them, is education. You've done plenty, advanced formal step A and beyond, advocate training. And so your emphasis to us, and especially to me, has been educating our people. Now, obviously, on From 8 Arbitration, we've done some educating, but that was one of the things when you came to me and you and I were talking, you was like, you're going to educate our people, the workroom floor. And the concerned letter carriers has done that. Paul Bolanger, who you have tasked with being the director of education, has put on LMOU training, JSOV training, 6-day count training nationwide for free. And so the next thing he has coming up is escalated remedies, monetary awards training. And we're getting that prepared right now. But another thing is that you wanted a podcast just for education again. So we came up with a Lion's Den. That was your idea. And Paul's over that, had an episode today. But uh, you're running on that education, 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 education. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're having these nationwide Zooms from the concerned letter carriers. You got the Lion's Den with Paul Bolanger. And so, yeah, talk about that just a little bit. Your passion for educating, James. Like I said, you're one of the most decorated educators we've had. And your thought process behind these nationwide Zooms. And now we have an escalated remedy monetary award.
Well, absolutely. One, I believe that you're as only strong as your weakest link in anything. And I am a huge proponent of every single letter carrier, NLC member, knowing as much about the contract and about their rights as I do, or or anyone. Everyone should have an unfettered access to everything that the NLC has to offer. And that includes being educated. And we have placed a premium on that and an emphasis on ensuring that the workforce is educated because one, it accomplishes a couple of different things simultaneously. One, if there are issues that occur on the workroom floor, our letter carriers are not ignorant. They can in real time assess and determine whether or not there is a violation or something is awry. And what does that do? Is that it won't alleviate the problems in the office, but it certainly will minimize or reduce the frequency or the severity or something to it because management is going to be aware that it is going to be addressed. Not only that it will be addressed, but we would also be developing bench strength, so to speak. Those that will develop confidence from by the education that they're receiving, that the more that they learn, perhaps they will be willing to stand up and step up and come forward and represent the letter carriers because sometimes the job you say may be your own, just in regards to just being educated. So having a somewhat of a reserve unit, so to speak, and using a military term, somebody that you can activate, someone that knows when you say, even if they're not activated as a steward, their knowledge is activated. Say, if I was on vacation as a steward or anyone, that someone can go to them and get the accurate and correct information necessary to pursue a grievance, if so be it, or to deal with whatever an array of issues that may come about. But it's super important, I think, for us to have education. And we have been trying to demonstrate that, not just talk to talk, but walk to talk as the CLC. We have almost since the inception of our slate have been conducting nationwide Zoom meetings. And that is pretty much what we've been limited to at this particular point. But when we become uh, the administration for the NLC, we would continue that. It was not intended to be in lieu of or a replacement of in-person training, but a supplement to it. Because recognizing that everyone does not have the financial wherewithal to be able to attend every every training session that we have in person. In addition to that, that not everyone, not only will they not have the financial ability to do so, you have the situation whereby the frequency can be increased because you're not going to have in-person trainings because it is costly every month, on a nationwide scale, that is, where everybody can come. And this is something that we want to make sure that the business agents offices are doing on a regular basis, that we have access to being able to present Zoom classes uh, in addition to in-person classes. These things are, I think, is a good balance between traditionally how things have been done and the advent of the social media with regards to I should say the technology, not necessarily the social media, but the technology that's out there that really came to the forefront as a result of the COVID and how everybody started getting an infrastructure for web-based education, and it's something that we have done, like I said, since the inception of the CLC and have done throughout and still leading up here to the election. Currently, right now, I ask for the Paul Barlanger, who's slated to be the director of education, to one, continue with the Lions Dens, but in addition to that, to prepare so we can present a nationwide Zoom class on escalating remedies. I think this is something that is important, that we are able to educate our members out there as to one, what would it take to get an escalated remedy and how we go about doing that, and the need for them, and the purpose and the benefit of it. Because obviously, management seems to think that they can act with impunity, that just the cost of doing business, I can just mandate you, I could just not comply with settlements, and all right, I have $25, $50, and I just continue to do it. It's almost like a waitress at a restaurant dropping a plate, just the cost of doing business. No, if you continue to do that, you know, there's got to be something that's going to course correct management's behavior. And this is something I think that will be important in educating our members as well. But education is key, man. It's really, really important. So I'm excited about what we have in store and what we plan to continue to do, not just for the shop stewards, not just for the branch officers, but for the letter carrier craft in whole.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've always said an educated workforce is a devastating thing. That's not just stewards, Formal A's.
Yes,
It's
sir.
an educated workforce, like
Right.
you said. So that way, when management comes out on the floor with some of this nonsense, they're educated, all of them, and they're able to say that right there is a grievance. I'm going to need to speak with my steward on that. But yeah, and we will get there. We will get there, and that is a promise that we will educate the floor. It's a passion of yours. Like I said, you're one of the most decorated educators the NLC's seen, and it was a little something on social media today I saw where somebody said, "What's the best training that y'all received?" And about 90% of the comments were advanced formal step and beyond.
Right.
And that's something that you facilitated for a long time. Of course, Renfro did away with it, and now you got, you know, informal A training at a national level, which is a head scratcher. But Renfro did away with training that 90% of the people on this thing said was advanced formal step A and beyond. But anyway, we'll bring that stuff back. That's a necessity to have that training, in-depth advanced formal step A training. To me, the formal A, I've always said, is the most important step of the process. You win or lose at the formal A. But anyway,
You're
but yeah,
absolutely right with that. And I don't by any means take any credit that the Advanced Formula and Beyond class was my brainchild, but I was very fortunate and blessed to be brought in by Lou Dross at the time, who was uh, what was the innovator and the originator of the class, and he brought myself in along with a few other MBAs to put the class together and move forward. And I was one of the original facilitators, and then ultimately ended up taking over and running it. And I thought that it was a phenomenal class myself, and was blessed to be able to be a part to educate members of the NLC. And we're talking about the reputation of the class was such that it wasn't just branch stewards and officers that was coming. You had rank and file letter carriers that were paying themselves to come for a week to attend this class. And so where am I going with that? Is that in and of itself demonstrates that there is an appetite for just the regular letter carrier on the floor to be educated. We had a lot of letter carriers, rank and file letter carriers, that just decided that they wanted to pay for themselves to come attend this class because it wasn't a class that National paid for. It was a first come, first serve, and we brought them in, based on that. But the reality of it is, man, we're going to continue uh, on with that, and we hope that everyone feels that they have an opportunity to gain knowledge. And like I said, one of the, I think, overlooked benefits is that you almost inherently build bench strength. Because what happens, Corey, that most of the time when you are trying to recruit stewards, majority of the time, people a lot of times say no, not because they don't desire to help, because they feel uh, ill-equipped. They say, I don't know none of that. I don't know the contract, and I don't want to be placed in a situation where people, have some adverse impact on somebody's job or let people down. Well, if we educate the entire workforce, they've already got a foundation, some at least fundamental knowledge, and they can say, you know what, I can build on this. So we may, just like you say, inherently build some bench strength on top of that far as the
yeah,
NLC representation.
yeah. I know you and Lou are real tight, and Lou has a great mind. I mean,
He does.
he has a fantastic mind for it, and I know that you and him are close. Y'all speak still, and so yeah. But that's a class that will definitely come back, and it's needed. It's important. But lastly, I wanted your opinion on everywhere you go, we go. You talk about carriers making a living wage.
Yes, sir.
That's priority one to you. If there was a list, that would be number one to you. Is carriers making a living wage? You talk about it everywhere you go. You had Steiner, the postmaster general, come out the other day, and I talked about this a little bit, James, a few weeks ago. And he says that they're going to cut out overtime, and you're seeing that in real time. You're seeing overtime being cut out from carriers. And the problem with that is that I'll say at the last TA, we had an opportunity to make sure that the carriers are provided with a living wage, and we just pissed it away. And now my carriers are relying on overtime to survive, and you've cut that out. So they no longer have a living wage, and they're cutting out their overtime. we are a poor craft right now. And I wanted your take on that as far as them Steiner saying, hey, no more overtime, and yet my carriers are starving anyway.
Absolutely. And this is why when we are entering into contract negotiations and going forward, that we have to have a global view of things, and not just the right here and now, but to be able to, as I say, get our craft, our letter carriers from hire date to retirement date. And that is facilitated, and one of the most significant vehicles of being able to do that is making sure that we can have retention of professional letter carriers by having a living wage, by having wages that are sufficient and keep a pace with inflation and the economy that we're in. In the instant case, as you know, in the most recent uh, collective bargaining agreement that we have, we lifted, it was negotiated to lift the cap off of overtime, off work hours work, 12 hours, 60, in exchange for right to refuse. But the elephant in the room was because, hey, look, these carriers need to be able to function and to be able to survive. And if they are able to make all this money by working inordinate amount of overtime at the expense of their body, at the expense of their mental health and physical health, it was like, all right, that's the trade-off, seemingly. That's at least the way it appears. That's not something that was stated, but that's the way that it appears. And that is just absurd, because right now, a lot of those letter carriers were basing, and this goes back to the beginning of the time, but a lot of letter carriers were basing their standard of living on their ability to work overtime.
Yeah.
And now that the service has come and put a screeching halt to the overtime and really enforcing this pause on overtime, to recoup funds or whatever the case may be, it highlights the importance of being able to function and be able to uh, have the means for all your basic necessities based on a living wage, an hourly wage that is indicative and representative of your labor, what our labor is worth. And that is not the case right now. Brother, there is statistics show that approximately 25% of the country are single family homes. And that means that they are having to live and function and provide for their children based on one income.
Yeah.
And it would, if that's the case, about 25% of the country is single family home, it would stand to reason, give or take, that perhaps would just about carry over to the Postal Service. You probably have approximately 25% or more of letter carriers that are existing on a single income. And when you take a look at the table one wages at the very beginning, there's approximately a $20,000 difference. When you look at the wages that from the first step to the last step in our pay chart, you're talking about over $31,000 difference in wages. That is unconscionable, man. And we need to recoup and recover those wages that we've lost. But it starts with demanding from management that we are paid what our labor is worth. As you
Yeah.
say, I go around the country pointing out just about how important it is that we insist on getting what it is that we're deserving of, and not just putting up a colorful effort, but a meaningful effort to ensure that our letter carriers get a living wage. And one thing that you and I and everyone on our slate, and there's carriers that other officers, around the country, but what we have been placing an emphasis on is saying that we understand that we hear you. I understand, you know, coming from Los Angeles, when you're talking about fast food workers, brother, making more money starting off than a professional letter carrier, a union job.
Yeah.
I said our job has almost been like Benjamin Button, like we've been aging backwards. How is that the case?
Yeah.
So I think that the there may be some method to the madness as it relates to the Postal Service. Is it that they're down deciding because they know that they just can't just outright lay off the letter carriers, right? They just outright lay them off. So what do? People starve them out.
Yeah.
Don't give them the funds, and people start looking to go get other jobs, and thereby inherently reducing our workforce. Because that's one thing that the Postmaster General had indicated, that one of the methods of trying to make the Postal Service have an increased wealth is having temporary workforce or reducing the overall labor
Yeah.
force.
Yeah. Talking about a part-time workforce, but the two-tier wage system, it inherently brings division amongst us, like blue. If you ever look up two-tier wage system, it'll talk about the natural division it brings to the workroom floor anywhere that it's incorporated. We have it here. You got table 2. You talk about the penthouse to the poorhouse, all in one craft. You got the penthouse, and we don't make near as much at the top as we should. You always talk about UPS makes 49, we should make 50. But the bottom, the CCAs, which don't even get me started there. I mean, that right there will take you to arbitration with me. The fact that we still have the CCA craft, but then you got table 2, who makes nothing, but it causes a natural division, the two-tier
Yeah.
wage system. And because you'll always have those coming in, they're pissed off. Like you said, there's a $30,000 difference between us and them. And so it was almost like we were hoodooed on our last contract because they came in and they said, we're gonna let y'all work, like you said, all these inordinate amount of hours. Y'all can work till midnight. So people, like you said, these single parent homes are saying, hey, I can pay for some child care. I'm going to work. I'll volunteer to work over 12. I can work up to 15, 16 hours. And so, even though we're not making a living wage, because my president refused to fight for us, even though we're not making a living wage, I can work all these inordinate amount of overtime. And then they come in and they cut your overtime. And so we're completely hoodooed, man, in this last TA because, we're thinking, hell, we didn't make no money. We're still poor as hell, but we can work ourselves to death. And then they take our overtime away. But people,
Now,
I
see,
said
that's
this,
unintended consequences
yeah,
to not having a living wage and
yeah,
insisting on that. And here's the reality of it. Like you said, I wholeheartedly agree with you that that the system inherently creates a division. Because why? In its most simplest term, that you have letter carriers doing equal work for less pay, doing the same work for less pay, you know, and that just should not be. And we're not talking about based on seniority. We're talking about two different wage structures,
yeah,
and it's important that everyone work and labor is valued.
yeah,
Everyone. There should be some equity to this. And currently, it is not at the level that it should be.
yeah.
But we
Well,
want the letter carriers out there to know that we recognize that, meaning the
yeah,
CLC, we recognize that, And this is one of the things that first and foremost that we are going to address and be consistently placing emphasis on getting letter carriers to where they're supposed to, because there is no caveat, there is no exception to having a comparable wage. That said, well, you get a comparable wage to those in the similar industry if the Postal Service can afford it, if they haven't lost X amount of dollars. There is no caveat, there is no exception. There are things that need to take place. And like, you've heard me say before the Postal Service start trying to reduce our craft, our numbers, and reduce or maybe stagnate our wages because they're crying poverty. Well, like I said, don't cry poverty with two loaves of bread under each arm to me, when there are things that you can do, such as reducing the number of managers you have, such as complying with the grievance procedure, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Clean up your house first, and then
Yeah.
come speak to us, and then we can, go from there. But it falls on deaf ears to me, because our first and foremost priority, a matter of fact, our exclusive priority, is to look out for the best interest and welfare of our letter carriers. And chief among them is ensuring that there is a living wage. And one thing that we will do, and people are they try and clown us saying we making promises and all this other. The only promise that we're making is that we're going to fight for you. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to fight for you. And that is one thing that we will not take a no on. When managers say, well, no, we can't afford it. Well, then we're going to have an arbitrator tell us no, that
Yeah.
what we're asking for isn't. And that won't be the last time we ask for it, if that be the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we are the National Association of Letter Carriers, not the National Association of Postal Service. We're the National Association of Letter Carriers for a reason. We represent letter carriers. We do not represent the Postal Service. But yeah, those are things, the CCA position table two, those are things that we will go to arbitration on in a heartbeat. I mean, it's destroying us as a craft, not the individuals, but the positions. And it pisses me off. James, you and I could retire today. We could
Yes,
say
sir.
sayonara, but your legacy speaks for itself. The things you've done for the city letter carrier, and you said, "Hey, I'm not leaving it like this. I've not done all these things through all these years, the past 30 years, fighting my ass off for the city letter carrier to see some bum come in here and fuck us over, and then me just walk away from it." And so, you're catching it from all kind of different people right now, brother. And I respect you more than anybody I've ever known for how you've handled it. But we're going to win this thing, James, and get in there and show the city letter care we mean exactly what we say. We're going to wear steel-toe boots every time we go in there into the office. And but fighting is just it's in us. It's all we've done. It's all we know, brother. And so this is just another thing to me.
Absolutely, man. And it really doesn't matter what anyone says, is that your actions speaks louder than words.
Yeah,
And the one thing is that we all have a record. So no matter what anybody says, about you, I, or anyone on our slate, or anyone, and we have not mired ourselves in, uh, you know, concerning ourselves with the negativity. We're all about the business of trying to improve letter carriers' lives and to improve their standard of living, to improve their working conditions on the workroom floor. We've been focusing in on those things that truly matter, not some internet social media wars. We that is that's child's play. What matters to me is that after all is said and done, that someone says that James, Corey, the CLC anyone that's associated with them have done their absolute best to help somebody.
Yeah.
And I can tell you here, you have those that are the CLC slate, and you have CLC supporters. And somehow, we have no control over those that are supporters and how they feel. And they come in and they voice their opinion. And somehow you have those that want to conflate CLC supporters with the CLC slate itself. Unless you get it directly from me, directly from you, or someone that is actually running for a position, though that's the CLC slate. Hey, supporters, we are grateful for you and we thank you for everything that you're doing to help us move forward. But to the haters out there, we have no control over the CLC supporters. They are entitled to their own opinion, and democracy ain't just when you agree with it.
There's a lot of passion out there, brother, on social media. Let me tell you, there's a lot of passion from every side, man. You just hell, I love it though, man. I love the passion of it all. There's going to be more votes cast, James, in this election than any election in the history of the NLC. I do know
Well,
that.
I hope. Well, I certainly hope so because it's going to signify that people are engaged. It's going to signify that it is important to our craft that when the acronym NLC is uttered, that it invokes respect.
Yeah,
And this is where we are. Everybody is craving for management to put some respect on the NLC name again. That's where
yeah,
we at. Put some
yeah,
respect on our name. And I tell you, brother, hey, look, on behalf of the letter carriers, that's our responsibility and our duty is to stand up and stand in the gap for them.
yeah, yeah. Well, my brother, I know you. I see the Sandman. He's creeping up on you back there, brother. He's
Man, he
fixing.
didn't kick me in the back of the head a couple of times.
I'm
But
gonna
it's
let you
all
go,
good.
brother. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. I know I told you on short notice, my man, and you were busy, but I appreciate you coming on, talking about a
Uh,
few things. And I will see you in Buffalo tomorrow.
Man, I look forward to it, man. I appreciate you as always, having us on here and continuing to educate our craft and getting our message out, man. And the one thing that I do want to leave on here is that one, by saying if we could eliminate a two-tier workforce, that helps bring unification of our craft, and at least
Yeah,
in one aspect. And then I don't want anybody to uh in the in this listening episode thinking that that is not what you and I are all about. Ultimately, people have been being called out for some deficiencies and things that we believe that the NLC and the craft has been devoid of. But one of the main things that we would, in addition to trying to our best to achieve a living wage for our craft and our letter carriers, is also um, demonstrating our love for one another as NLC brothers and sisters, about trying to unify because ultimately what's most important to me, and I know to you, and traveling with here, is us being effective. And as the old saying go, a house divided against itself can't stand. I know we have our campaign and everything that we're doing right now, but we will unify. That's both you and I and everyone. That's it. If you are an NLC member, you're a letter carrier, uh, you're going to get some love in the club, period.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree, brother. And that'll be easy once they see that we're about that business of
Yes, sir.
taking care of them because love is genuine. You talk about it, I talk about it, the CLC talks about it. It's about the love for the light blue. We've always said it, but that will unify us. I'm not concerned about that. Things are a little salty right now. because of the campaign and different camps and stuff. But at the end of it, that's why I always tell people that message me they're concerned about it. I said, hey, look, everything's going to be all right. Everything's
It
going to be
will.
okay. Everything's going to be
Hey,
okay.
and what I want to say to everybody, if you believe in our mission, you believe in the movement, please, if you have not done so far, go on concernedlettercarriers.com, uh, endorse us, support, fill out the information so we can contact you. In addition to that, like and follow us on all of our social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter/X, all of it. Like and follow us on there so we can communicate with you. And last but not least, this is a very expensive endeavor. Corey and I and everyone else that's traveled all around this country have done so on our own time and our own dime. We have not used not one dime of any donations for our purposes of going out and campaigning and traveling the country. But we do want to be able to reach out to you with a nationwide mailing. And if you so inclined, please, on concernedlettercarriers.com, we have a donate button on there as well on our website. Please donate to us, whether it's $2, $5, $20, $100, whatever it is that's the Lord puts on your heart to give. We would appreciate it so we can continue to reach each and every one of you.
Well said, my brother. My man, go get some sleep.
All right, my man. Be blessed, and we'll
All
holler
right.
at you tomorrow. And hey, everybody out there, have a fantabulous and blessed day.
All right, brother. We'll see you. Love you, James. See you, man.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. That was the wolf, the man himself, James Henry. And I love being around that guy, man. We have a fucking ball. That dude, he is funny, but he is about the business, man. I've got a lot of screenshots, okay? A lot of screenshots. And some of them are grievance-wise, and some of them are just things that people put out that I want to talk to y'all about. And that's what kind of where Salted Peanuts generated from. It's where it came from. Are just so many screenshots, people messaging me, emailing me, texting me, things I find on social media, because it doesn't happen in my station. My station, nothing happens. And so everything I'm teaching y'all about, educating y'all about, are things that I find off of social media that or people send me, okay? Here's one thing, and I'm going to talk about this one right off the jump. This is definitely a grievance. Definitely a grievance, and we've dealt with this before. And it gives you the contractual language that you're going to need. And here's what it says. Yesterday, I discovered management is moving carriers to the street while the carriers are still in the office to fall in line with a 45 and 60-minute office time. On occasion, the carrier will be moved to 7:33 or 3:54. I assume this will track back for months. For context, carrier pay is not being messed up with. They're only having their moves manipulated. Does anyone have any language on where to start with this? I can't seem to find a grievance starter on this anywhere. And this is on the NELC Stewards Help page. Now, we've done a couple episodes on this, but I'm telling you, if you do say, what is this? This is May. So you got January, February, March, that's a quarter. April, May, June, that's a quarter. So when you pull up your clock rings in July, doing a quarterly, if you look back for those 3 months, you're probably going to see management falsifying your clock rings, maybe for this right here, to show that y'all are out of the office in 45 minutes or 60 minutes. Because, first off, nothing's going to happen to them. If they get caught, nothing's going to happen. Nothing, they will not be demoted, fired, nothing. They don't care over there on that side. They don't care what their people do to us, period. They do not care. They can threaten to shoot and kill us, and they'll get a letter of warning. I played that at closing for y'all with that arbitration I had. They'll get a letter of warning for threatening to shoot and kill us. They can steal from us. I had that arbitration, had the closing argument on there where the station manager at the time was clocking CCAs out while they're still delivering mail. They were out delivering mail for an hour, 2 hours, completely off the clock, had no idea. Got caught. Do you know where that individual is today, that station manager? Now, the arbitrator said, hey, this is akin to theft. You just stole. Do you know what would happen to us if we stole something from the employer? We would be terminated, and rightfully so. Do you know what happened to this individual who stole? He's now the MCSO of Nashville. So he got caught stealing and got a promotion. That's how bass-backwards this stuff is, the double standards that I always talk about. So here you have somebody that caught their bosses falsifying clock rings. 45 minutes to 60 minutes. They're trying to show. Now, we had this down in New Orleans. In the business agent's office, pre-arbed it. Do you know what they got down there for? It was the entire city was being falsified to show an hour office time. Do you know what they got? Do you know what my wonderful business agent's office did to that? Made them do training. Made them to do tax training. Didn't even get a cease and desist out of it. Made them do tax training. Maybe they would send me back to, I don't know. What kind of training did I get back in 1992 when I started? Maybe they will send me back to that training. If I'm stealing something, maybe that's what I'll ask for. Maybe I'll use that pre-arb. If they catch me stealing, say I'm pulling all the credit cards out of my DPS and just steal those, take them home. Hopefully I will get training on that. That's the same difference. It's the same damn thing. You're falsifying, you're stealing. So anyway, hopefully I'll get some training if I ever get caught stealing something. But pay attention to your clock ring, stewards. Pay attention. If you pull up quarterly overtime grievances and you find that, grieve on it. They'll say it's untimely because this happened 2 months ago. Arbitrators will laugh at that. They will laugh at that. Okay? We'll say, hey, we put up quarterly overtime. There's no reason for me to look at daily clock rings because I wasn't privy to anything until I pulled up this quarterly and I saw what you were doing. Okay? So what we're going to grieve, how we're going to grieve it. JB has some fantastic grievance starters or grievances where the issue, and I told him, hey, send them to me. I'm going to talk about them. So you got, did management in the national installation at the East Station violate Article 5, Section 665 of the Employee Labor Relations Manual, ELM, and F21 Handbook via Article 19 of the National Agreement by falsely editing letter carrier time clock rings? I'll read that again. So if you're ever wondering what you're going to grieve, okay, and I'm going to read some stuff to you, all right? Did management in the national installation at the East Station violate Article 5, Section 665 of the Employee Labor Relations Manual, ELM, and F21 Handbook via Article 19 of the National Agreement by falsely editing letter carrier time clock rings? Okay, that's going to be your issue statement, all right? If so, what should the remedy be? You got Article 5. The employer will not take any actions affecting wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment. That's Article 5. And we're going to put this puzzle piece together, all right? We got a bunch of pieces. We're going to put them together for you. You got Article 19. You've got to have Article 19. Why? Because that's going to introduce the ELM, the F21 Handbook, any step force, okay? So make sure you always put in Article 19. Okay, F21 Time and Attendance Handbook, Section 111.2. You're going to have that. These instructions establish official time and attendance procedures for all postal installations, including headquarters and headquarters-related units that usually manually timekeeping procedures. The procedures related to the use of electronic time clock, ETC system, are provided by the help screens available within the system and the user's guide. It is not the intention of these instructions to amend or conflict with the provisions of the collective bargaining agreements negotiated between the Postal Service and officially recognized employee organizations, or with policies contained in the Employee and Labor Relations Manual, ELM, or other manuals. 146.26 creditable work time. Now, this is still out of the F-21 handbook. Supervisors must credit employees with all time designated as work time under the Fair Labor Standards Act. Examples of time that must be credited as work time included but are not limited to: A, time spent by employees in performing duties that are integral part or closely related to the employee's principal work activity. Examples of this time include pulling mail from a distribution case, collecting tools, cutting knives, stringing rubber bands, etc. So, time spent by employees in performing duties that are an integral part of or closely related to the employee's principal work activity. Now, that's out of the F-21 handbook. F-21, 111.2 and 146.26. Okay? The ELM, Employee and Labor Relations Manual. 661.2, Application to Postal Employees. In addition to the statutes listed in Title V, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 263.901, 902, the following statutes and regulations are applicable to all employees in the Postal Service. I. Prohibition against fraud or false statements in a government matter. So, you're committing fraud when you're falsifying clock rings, okay? Employee and Labor Relations Manual, Section 665 states the following. Now, this is our chance to go back at them. They always put this on us in discipline. We're going back at them right now, okay? We're going to use it against them. Employee and Labor Relations Manual, Section 665 states the following. 665, Postal Service Standards of Conduct. 665.1, General Expectations. 665.11, Loyalty. Employees are expected to be loyal to the United States government and uphold the policies and regulations of the Postal Service. And that's a great one. Why? Because you're committing fraud. You're falsifying, knowingly falsifying clock rings, our data. 665.13, Discharge of Duties. Employees are expected to discharge their assigned duties conscientiously and effectively. Now, are you conscientiously discharging your duties if you're intentionally falsifying clock rings? And that's a question we'll ask them when they're on the hot seat in arbitration, okay? Do you feel like you're conscientiously and effectively discharging your duties when you intentionally falsify these clock rings? Well, I didn't intentionally do it. Sir, there are 127 cases of you falsifying, editing clock rings. And you're saying that you didn't conscientiously do that. No. So you were unconscious when you did it. So anyway, but 665.16, Behavior and Personal Habits. Employees are expected to conduct themselves during and outside of work hours in a manner that reflects favorably upon the Postal Service. Now, do you feel like you intentionally falsifying clock rings? Do you feel that that reflects favorably upon the employer when you did that? You're held to a higher standard because you are the employer. You're held to a higher standard than us. And so do you feel that you were doing that what you were doing reflects favorably upon the Postal Service? Because I guarantee you, if the city letter carrier was editing their clock rings or falsifying scans, they would use this against us. Employee and Labor Relations Manual, Section 665.44 states the following. 665.44, Falsification in Recording Time. Write this down. ELM 665.44, Falsification in Recording Time. Recording the time for another employee constitutes the falsification of a report. Any employee knowingly involved in such a procedure is subject to removal or other discipline. Now let's see what discipline management issues themselves. Okay? Because this says, recording the time for another employee constitutes the falsification of a report. Any employee knowingly involved in such a procedure is subject to removal or other discipline. 665.44, the M, put that in there. Then you've got M39, Section 126.42. M39 Handbook, Section 126.42. This is management's handbook. 126.42. In offices using the PSDS system, managers must review the daily carrier report printout and note those carriers who left late. Circle the BS or beginning street and note the reason for late leaving in the right margin. Do the same for RS or return to street. The reasons for late leaving and or late returning are to be determined by the unit manager and used as judgment factors when preparing an analysis of late leaving or late returning on Form 1627. 126.42, it states in part, assure that all clock rings are accurate because their carrier report could be selected as a basis for completing the Form 1840B, carrier time card analysis. Retain the carrier report printout in the delivery unit for 1 year. And that's the most important thing. You have joint processes come in and they pull all of our clock rings. And what are they going to show if we don't catch it? Well, Corey's been getting out of the office in 45 minutes every day. So his office time is 45 minutes. Now, Corey, something's going on here because you've shown a demonstrated performance, which we don't go by. You've shown a demonstrated performance on your 8 weeks analysis or your going back, whatever kind of history we're going to use on you of getting out of the office in 45 minutes, but yet the week of inspection is taking you over an hour. We need you to explain that because it seems to us like you're intentionally slowing down, and that's what's going to happen. Do you know what management's going to do? Lie about it. They're going to lie about it. If I don't catch it, they're going to say, well, Corey, we're going to use, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to use your office time shown of 45 minutes because we feel like you're sandbagging on us right here. That time's not mine. I know it's not. Every carrier says that. We know it's not. It's not my time. I know. Where's the grievance at about it? Well, if I ain't got no grievance, I'm going to have to do some heavy persuasion. But that's what it does. You affect an entire station's 1840B time. You affect an entire station's if you have a joint process, because where do those things come from? National is looking at those things. Headquarters is looking at those things. Area is looking at these numbers. District is looking at these numbers. And they're going to say, look at Belmead Station. Every carrier in there is getting out in 45 minutes of office time. Let's go in there and inspect them. Why? Because you got a piece of shit falsifying our fucking clock rings. Why? Because it's all these motherfuckers know how to do is steal. Everywhere I go, I say it. They're adept at stealing, lying, falsifying. Why? Because nothing's going to happen to them. Their upper managers don't give a shit. You can take this in there. Every one of these managers, JB's got about 20 decisions in here of falsification of clock rings. Every one of those supervisors are still supervisors. Every one of those managers are still managers unless they got promoted. They don't give a damn what they do to us. When I say you don't hate them enough, that's what I'm talking about. They will go in and intentionally steal. They will intentionally falsify. Why? Because you don't matter. You're nothing to them. You're numbers only. So they will steal from you. Why? They don't give a shit about you. They will falsify your clock rings. Why? Because it's all they know how to do. They're sorry, low-down, rotten bastards is all they are. And you've got to have people in place right now that are adept at going after sorry, low-down, cheating, stealing, thieving bastards. You can't have people that are in there saying go to training. We're going to do away with all of that entire mindset when we take over. You need street fighters when you're in a street fight. That's what you need. You don't need cowards and conceders when you're in a street fight. You need blunt force trauma. So, again, I got off on something there just by some language that pissed me off. That's M39 Section 126.42, and that's a huge contention for us. What you're doing, you're falsifying our time cards, our clock rings. It's going to affect probably a 6-day count or a joint process when you do that. And the only reason they're doing that is because their bosses have said, I want the carriers out of the office in 45 minutes, and they know that that's an improper instruction. They know there's no way to do that because we got 33 minutes of fixed office time unless this president fucks that up. We got 33 minutes of fixed office time. If I've got 33 minutes of fixed office time, how am I going to have 45 minutes of office time? How's that possible? So what do? They falsify. so that their bosses will pat them on the head. All right. National Interpret Step. Step 4, M1664. M1664. Management is responsible for accurately recording volume and other data in DOAS. Other than obvious data entry errors, route-based information may only be changed through a full count and inspection or minor route adjustment. I'll read that again. M1664. Management is responsible for accurately recording volume and other data in DOAS. Other than obvious data entry errors, route-based information may only be changed through a full count and inspection or minor route adjustment. And here's another thing. Even though let me read this first. M39 242.122, or just section 242. Okay, M39 section 242. 242.122. The proper adjustment of carrier routes means an equitable and feasible division of the work among all the carrier routes assigned to the office. All regular routes should consist of as nearly 8 hours work as possible. 242.321. 242.321. For evaluation and adjustment purposes, the base for determining the street time shall be either the average street time for the 7 weeks random time card analysis and the week following the week of count and inspection, or B, the average street time used during the week of count and inspection. And I'm going to put that in there. Why? Because we're talking about office time. Because it's affecting our street time. If you're putting me out of the office in 45 minutes and I'm in the office for an hour and 10, it's affecting everything, my entire day. Here's the joint process, the TRAP memo, even though we're not in TRAP, okay? I'm going to go down to the bottom, office evaluation. Now this is on the TRAP. And if you have a joint process, it's probably going to look similar to this. It's going to be TRAP 2 or something like that. Office evaluation. The district lead team or the route evaluation and adjustment team will select from the lesser of the following for the data analysis review period when determining the evaluated office time on each route. The regular carriers or mutually agreed upon replacement carriers actual average total office time. I'll read that again. Office evaluation. The district team. So they don't have a fuck what's going on in your station, that somebody's falsifying all your shit. The district lead team or the route evaluation and adjustment team will select from the lesser of the following for the data analysis review period when determining the evaluated office time on each route. The regular carriers or mutually agreed upon replacement carriers actual average total office time. Now, how is it if you're stealing from me, you're falsifying my clock rings, that's not going to fuck my route up when the TRAP comes in? Okay? So there you have it. There you have it. That's enough for you. That's enough for you, okay, to fire that ass up. I'm going to ask that they be disciplined, that they be removed. Not going to get that because only the JSOV gives us that authority, but the contractual language states that they'll be removed or disciplined, okay? We won't get that because we can't get shit. We got our shit sitting there for 3 fucking years. And that's probably the reason they do this shit, you know. But there's one of them. And look, they're coming after us, period. Everywhere we go, carriers talk about that. Hey, you know, you're talking about they're coming after us. This is what they're doing. They are coming after us. We are going to be the scapegoats in all of this. All of these losses that they keep saying they have. We're going to be the scapegoats, all right? I'm going to read this to you, and this is why. USPS has reported a total net losses of $120 billion since 2007. Listen what I'm fixing to tell you. The USPS has reported a total net losses of $120 billion since 2007. As first-class mail, its most profitable product has fallen to its lowest volume since the late 1960s. We are in a cash crisis, and we are now taking serious and appropriate steps to conserve funds to operate. Postmaster General David Steiner. So they're still ramping this shit up. To avoid disruption and to sustain our role supporting American commerce and the public, we require urgent congressional action to expand our borrowing authority and to address outdated constraints on the organization. Steiner and lawmakers could go down one of two paths to assist USPS. One option would be for Congress to eliminate mandates that ensure the Postal Service loses money. Under this plan, Congress would give USPS greater flexibility to close unprofitable post offices, which will affect our elderly, which should be taken care of first. They're going to close down, greater flexibility to close unprofitable post offices. So my grandmother or my great-grandmother is going to have to travel longer distances. It's not about business. It's about service. I don't want my 90-year-old grandmother to be driving 50 miles because of the service trying to be a business. Slash days of delivery and reduce service standards. Okay? That's business. That's not service. Reduce service standards. Reduce days of delivery. Okay? So that's one of the options. Or Steiner said Congress could provide USPS with more robust funding as part of the annual appropriations process. It is merely the payment by Congress in return for Postal Service doing what no other business would do. So there's some things that they could do to help us out. Again, I say start with yourself. Look at yourself. Start there. Show us that you've done something. Okay? And then we'll talk about helping out. But you've not shown that you've done anything to help yourself. Here's what I'm talking about. Go back to this thing here. USPS has reported total net losses of $120 billion since 2007. $120 billion since 2007. In 2007, the Postal Service generated $74.9 billion in total revenue. In 2007, the Postal Service generated $74.9 billion in total revenue. Despite this, the USPS recorded a net loss of $5.1 billion. Okay, so in 2007, $74.9 billion in revenue, we lost 5.1. 2025. $80.5 billion in revenue. 85 billion with a B. So that's $7 billion more than in 2007, our revenue. Okay, we generated $7 billion more in revenue despite all these losses they're talking about, all of this first class, all these things. We generated $70 billion more in operating revenue than in 2007, and we lost $9 billion. What in the fuck is happening? Because you know what there's less of? Us, me and you, light blue. There's less of us. Where's it going? What are we doing? We've gotten $7 billion since 2007 in revenue. Even though they're talking about all of these losses that we have. We lost $9 billion. Why? How? Who? Where? What? When? Why? Those are things we need to know. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. But you know who's going to catch the brunt of that? Us. What are they going to do? Talk about 5-day delivery. And anybody talking about, well, we need 5-day delivery. Do you know what it would do to a sixth of our workforce? Be on the street. That's not what a union's about. People think it's about revenue. The unions just won't do it. I don't want my brothers and sisters on the fucking street. I don't want them out of a job. That's why we file grievances on 6-day counts. I don't want to lose routes. Why? Because that's light blue. That's a carrier. Gone. So we've lost all of these carriers since 2007. We've lost $9 billion last year. With a $7 billion surplus since 2007. Where's it going? What's happening? And then I see this. This has nothing to do with anything, but it still pissed me off. And now this lady came to our station when James Henry, one of those pictures that people put up trying to show that James was on the floor, he was there in recognition of a carrier that had 60 years of service at my station. Okay? Well, the district manager came and spoke to Richard McDonald, who was the carrier. And she was a fantastic lady, did a great job, did her homework, but this was her update, an area and regional update, if y'all get it. It's on page 4. It states in part, here in the southern area, rising temperatures come early, which makes our focus on heat illness and injury prevention even more important. Our heat illness prevention program training is vital. That's our HIP training. Our heat illness prevention program training is vital as its adherence to all tips provided, such as proper hydration, pacing ourselves throughout the day, and recognizing the signs of heat stress in ourselves and others. Safety has no season. It is year-round, and we need our employees to maintain a safe working environment because the most important delivery is making it home safely every day, which Eugene Gates Jr. did not do, which several of our brothers and sisters have not done. And I love this part here. Our heat illness prevention program training is vital. It's so vital, we falsify it every fucking year. Since I'm getting that ass, I might as well just do this. Every year they falsify it as its adherence to all tips provided, such as proper hydration, pacing ourselves throughout the day. Are you talking about when you say pacing ourselves throughout the day? Are you talking about when your sorry-ass supervisors or managers send out scanner messages saying, keep it moving, beat the heat? Is that the pacing that you're talking about? Are you talking about that when you're talking about pacing, when your managers say, keep it moving, beat the heat? The one that was sent to my brother Eugene Gates that killed that man? Is that what you're talking? Keep it moving, beat the heat. Is that the pacing that you're talking about? They don't like us. They don't like us. That came out of nowhere. But I just remembered it and it pissed me off. Okay. Here's another thing. Somebody sent. And this was on Sunday delivery. This is what they do to our CCAs, okay? And this is why we need to educate CCAs more than ever, so that this stuff doesn't happen. Because managers and supervisors, what they're going to do is they will lie to you. Believe it or not. They lie all the fucking time. They lie. Why? Because they have no moral compass. They just don't. They don't care to lie. It's in their job description, I believe, to fucking lie. How good are you at lying? I've never lied. Then you need to go back to city carrier. How good are you at lying? I lie about anything under the sun. Congratulations, you're hired. You're going to start at this station on Sunday. We'll have a list of lies for you to tell them. A lot of them are going to be our office time, DOS and PET. Those are the list of lies we need you to go down. You don't have any issue doing that? Hell no. So if a carrier's showing an hour and 20 in the office, you don't have any problem telling him that he's got under time, that he needs to be out of the office in 30 minutes? Fuck no. Congratulations, son. You're hired. But anyway, here's something else. Here's a settlement. Whether the service violated the national agreement when it failed to maintain an atmosphere of mutual respect by creating an artificial time and performance measurement system via public boards, the whiteboards, displaying route care performance data and promoting a 20 parcel per hour standard. I read this portion again. Now this is the whiteboard. Somebody grieved it and they did a good job on it. The settlement is good. The settlement is good, but here's what it says. To maintain an atmosphere of mutual respect by creating an artificial time and performance measurement system via public boards displaying route care performance data. Now, always remember when you have data on a whiteboard, okay, performance data, carrier performance, or even route performance, any of that's going to be covered under section 115.4 of the M39 handbook. 100% of the time. A whiteboard, it's got any kind of data on it, carrier data, either route or person, 115.4 of the M39 handbook, okay? Remember that. But it says here, and promoting a 20 parcel per hour standard. 20 parcel per hour standard. We have no street standard. We have no street standard, so therefore I cannot have a standard on parcel delivery. Again, I'm going to get off on these memos again. When you sign things, especially as the top dog, you cannot be a dumbass when you do it. You cannot be a dumbass when you sign things, okay? I have no street standard. You got to understand, if you have your finger on the pulse of the city letter care, what management's trying to do. What are they coming after right now? We are going to be the scapegoats in all these losses. So they're going to start falsifying clock rings. They're going to start pushing us out in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. They're going to start doing that. They're going to beat the shit out of us with stationary events, right? They're going to steal from us on the street, time on the street. They're going to bring even more bullies in. It's going to be more toxic on the floor. All these things are going on. So what you cannot do is sign things into effect that help them, like M1983. You cannot say you got any form of load time. That's a street function. I don't have a street standard. You cannot say you've got any time of parcel delivery standard or parameter because I have no street standard. I cannot have a pace. I don't have any kind of steps per minute I have to do. You cannot sign things into effect that counter that. You just can't. And when you do that, you have other motherfuckers that come in with dumbass shit like 20 parcels per hour. That's what happens when you do dumb shit as the top dog of this union. If they say, hey, their president signed off on 22 minutes of load time, Lloyd, I believe it was Lloyd, came out with that memo to all the districts saying, hey, 22-minute load time average. He didn't say parameter. He didn't say you can't hold them to it. He said 22 minutes average load time. Do you know why they do that? Because they will never do anything above board with us. They will always do things to fuck us over. And so you can't sign things that are going to hurt us, like this president. But now you have these people saying that there's a 20 parcel per hour standard. We have no street standard. We have no street standard, okay? But it was a good job there on those individuals, on that grievance. They got a good settlement out of that. A good cease and desist out of that. And I'll always take me a good cease and desist. Here's another huddle board. Here's another huddle board somebody sent to me. And I'm going to grieve this, okay? I'm going to grieve this. It's all these things on here. And then it's got office time 60 minutes. Office time 60 minutes. I'm grieving that. We've dealt with 60-minute office time several times on here. I'm grieving that office time 60 minutes. I'm going to ask where they got that from, okay? Because our reporting requirements are in M41 handbook. So I'm going to ask them, put in an information request. Hey, I see this huddle board, this whiteboard, office time 60 minutes. I need all information and data that y'all use to determine a standing 60 minutes office time. Okay, get that. It says no one past 6:30. Okay, that's fine. If I can do that, I'll do that. No one past 6:30. So up at the top of this whiteboard, it says no one past 6:30. All right. In the middle of the whiteboard, it says return time 5:30. So when you have a return time of 5:30, this is at the beginning of the day. You don't know my volumes, my parcels, nothing like that. This is the beginning of the day. Return time 5:30. Why? We need to be very careful that we do not let management implement any form of dispatch of value or window of operation on us. I'm talking about we're doing it because of simultaneous scheduling. So we're going to require people that are not on the list to go outside of their route and deliver portions on another route because of simultaneous scheduling. We're doing all these pivots. We're saying that y'all got all this under time. That's based off of Pettin and Doas. They can't tell me anything different. That's based off Pettin and Doas. So in the beginning of the day, we're going to get our PET numbers. We're going to do pivots off of that. So you carriers better be back by 5:30. If you can't be back by 5:30, I'm going to require carriers that are not on the list to carry portions of route off of their assignment. That's a violation of 85G. But you have a window of operation or dispatch of value. We got to grieve those things. I've done an episode on that before. Okay, so be very careful when they say return time 5:30. Why? Well, because I got dispatch of value. We got to grieve that. There's a window of opportunity. Got to grieve that. Okay, so be careful with that. If you see a return time of 5:30, let's ask why. All right, make sure we don't ever let them get away with the first damn thing. Because I'm of the mindset I want to file on everything these motherfuckers do. Why? Because I don't like them at all. They hate us. We don't hate them enough. All right, so there's another whiteboard. Here's another thing. Hello, we have a new supervisor, and she walks around telling us our pull-down times. I asked where she gets that information from. She said she measures everything and puts it into DOAS. I asked her if she uses DOS for that pull down time, and she said no. So is that a grievance? Majority of the carriers in my office are saying no, since she isn't saying she actually uses DOS. That is absolutely a grievance. It is absolutely a grievance. She is using DOS. So what we're going to do is we're going to request where she's getting that from. Okay? Where are you getting my leave time? Well, something has to spit that out. She says, hey, I'm counting your mail and putting that into whatever. That's DOS. You got M1664. Now, this is just one. There's several, but this is 1664. The Delivery Operations Information System, DOS, is a management tool for estimating a carrier's daily workload. The use of DOS does not change the letter carrier's reporting requirements outlined in Section 131.4 of Handbook M41. That will help you in that other grievance I was talking about. The supervisor's scheduling responsibilities outlined in Section 122 of the Handbook M39, or the letter carriers and supervisor's responsibilities contained in Section 28 of Handbook M41. DOS projections are not the sole determinant of a carrier's leaving or return time or daily workload. I'll read that again. DOS projections are not the sole determinant of a carrier's leaving or return time or daily workload. That's M1664. M1664. All right? And you're going to use that because that's exactly what's happening here. It's what's happening to everybody every single day across the country on these pivot plans. We've been over that before with these pivot plans, how to beat those. When you come in, you have all these pivots. You have a return time of 5:30. They're basing your leaving and return time on DOS. All right? So when they say, I asked where she gets that information from. She said she measures everything and puts it into DOS. I asked her if she uses DOS for that pull down time. She said no. I'm going to put in an information request for any and all information management used to determine my leave time. I'm going to do that. Any and all information management used to project my leave time or to get my leave time or anything like that. M1664, okay? And that's going to handle that. Because I'm telling you, nationwide, this is what's going on. This is what's going on nationwide with these pivots. They are using PET. Nationally, we should have come out with something nationally about PET. Nationally. And we will. When we get in there, everywhere I go, James has tasked me with educating the workroom floor. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm doing it. We're bringing back the Director of Education, Paul Bolanger. We're going to constantly educate the floor on things like this, PET and DOS. PET and DOS, PET and DOS, PET and DOS. Because this is hurting us right now. Carriers are being bullied and harassed and intimidated right now based off of PET and DOS. That's what's going on. That's what this is. Okay? Here's another thing, and I'm going to talk about this just a little bit, and I'll be done. Supervisor was taking pictures of carrier at her case. She was charging her phone, and he told her she's not allowed to. Today again, supervisor took pictures without consent again of carrier using postal electricity. Held a PDI with alternate today, I was off, and received a letter of warning. First, are we not allowed to use outlets at work to charge our phones, other devices? I know others at work are doing this regularly and seems like she's being picked on. Second, is a station manager allowed to take pictures of carriers inside the office without consent? Both of those things are going to grieve. Pay attention to me. Pay attention. You're going to grieve them separately. Two separate grievances. Okay? We're going to deal with the picture taking. We dealt with that a while back. Remember when we was talking about signing things and people gave me that love about me saying, hey, we're going to grieve locally generated forms, and they told me how much they appreciated that by calling me a piece of shit. So we got picture taking. Okay? So when you have management taking pictures, get your pen and paper. All right? Get your pen and paper. Did management violate Articles 2, 14, and 19 of the National Agreement? Make sure you got 19 of the national agreement via section 141.2 of the M39 handbook, management instruction MI AS-882-2011-6, management instruction AS-882-2011-6, and ASM 273.172. I'm going to read that again because it's that important. Did management violate Articles 2, 14, and 19 of the National Agreement via Section 141.2 of the M39 Handbook, Management Instruction AS-882-2011-6, and ASM 273.172, and that's your grievance, okay? We're not going to let them do that, ever. So that's a separate grievance. And then we're going to deal with the letter of warning. Why do we not want that on the same grievance? If we file a disciplinary grievance, and the only time, and I'll correct this in a second, but I've got a letter of warning, okay? That's management's burden. That's management's burden. So I've got this letter of warning, and I'm going to file on that. If I say, as a second issue, did management violate Articles 2, 14, and 19, that's our burden. What I never want to happen, ever, is for a contract case to be presented when it should be a discipline case. I don't want it to be my burden. I want it to be their burden on a discipline case. Does that make sense? If it's a discipline case, it's their burden. They're going to have to prove that burden. Okay? If I put it a second issue as a contract case, it may get labeled a contract case. So if it goes to arbitration, it's my burden. I don't want that. So the only time I will put a contract thing in a discipline case is a 17 and 31 violation. Why? Because I don't care. I want that going forward with it. Did management violate Article 16 and Section 115 of the M39 Handbook is an issue? Second issue, did management violate Articles 17 and 31 when they failed to give me the requested information, the information I needed to defend this individual that they issued the discipline to? And arbitrators will kill that. I've got hundreds of decisions that will support that. So as one grievance, you're going to grieve them taking pictures. All right? The second grievance is going to be the letter of warning. Now, when you say charging the phone using postal electricity, management's going to get you for what? Failure to follow instruction. Failure to follow instruction. That's what they're always going to get you with, is failure to follow instructions. What instruction? And that's the rule. When you look at just cause provisions, is there a rule? That's the very first one on page 16.1. Is there a rule? If so, was the employee aware of the rule? Was the employee forewarned of the disciplinary consequences for failure to follow the rule? Is there a rule? They're going to say, yes, there's a rule. Failure to follow instructions. What is the instruction they failed to follow? That's the rule you're looking for, okay? It's a catch-all. Failure to follow instructions is a catch-all, all right? They're going to use that every time. It's a catch-all. Well, you failed to follow my instructions. Well, if you tell me to hop on 1 foot in between each box, that's an instruction. But there's no rule telling me to do so. If you say that when I deliver my route, I have to deliver it right, left, right, left, right, left, right, talking about left foot, left foot, right. I need you to go that way, Corey. When you deliver this, I want you to go left foot, right, left. Well, that's an instruction, but there's no rule stating I have to do that. You have to get beyond failure to follow instructions. What is the instruction I failed to follow? That's the rule you're looking for. So here, the instruction I failed to follow was using postal electricity. No such rule. No such rule. Matter of fact, management does it every day with their computers, with their lights, with their scanners, charging scanners, with radios. Every day they're using postal electricity. This one says that numerous carriers are doing it. Okay? There's also a rule for that. Is the rule consistently and equitably enforced? It's not. because you've singled this person out, and that's what protects us from that. Article 16 protects us from that, from being singled out. It's beautifully written. The sub-question is protection. Is the rule consistent and equally enforced? No. I got 16 carriers in there charging their phones, playing their radios, whatever. So no, it's not equally enforced. But that's how much they hate us. You're going to come take pictures of me because I'm charging my phone, saying that I'm using pulse electricity. And we're losing billions. And you got dumb fucks out there with nothing better to do. That goes to show you they ain't got nothing to do. How little we need these motherfuckers. How little we need them. If you're going to come around and take pictures of me charging my fucking phone, your fat ass ain't got nothing better to do than that. Go back in your office with a big gulp and a fucking bag of Funyuns and fucking drink and eat yourself to death and leave us the fuck alone. We're out here fucking working, and you got these fat bastards out here trying to invent shit to fuck with us about. 20 minutes of parcels an hour. Fucking postal electricity. Motherfucker. We're going to have steel-toed boots when we get in this motherfucker. Steel-toed fucking boots. And carry the fucking hammer. These stupid fuckers. Here's another whiteboard. Excessive backing. And then it has the fucking name on it. That's a grievance. 115.4 of the M39 handbook. Missing mileage. Got my name on it. I'm doing that. You're not going to fucking put my name on something. Ever. Here's a question and answer thing. This is what they think of us. Here's questions and answers that somebody gave when they sent to me. And this is what they're asking them about the whiteboard. Okay? Just to give you an example of how fucking stupid they are. Who ordered a dry erase board with daily route data information written on it? OIC instructed the clerk to order replacement boards. Who directed that the info was to be written and reason to do so? Christie instructed all officers to maintain a huddle board. Please provide copies of any and all contractual provisions or MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, USPS policy, ELM provision, or other language do you cite that allows such data to be posted publicly on the postal workroom floor? Article 3. Article 3, that's the catch-all. What is the benefit to city letter carriers that other employees know or see their performance data, route data information displayed publicly? Listen to this fool. Now here's the question again. This is because they're putting our performance data on there. What is the benefit to city letter carriers that other employees know or see their performance data, route data information displayed publicly? It is not confidential information, nor is it sensitive. It's a daily snapshot of the route performance. It is not confidential information. I'll tell you what. Let me put your shit up there then. Let me put your shit up there. And how does a carrier going about getting this information? Can I go sit at your computer and pull up carrier's information? Are you going to allow me to do that? Because you say it's not confidential information, nor is it sensitive. Well, how can I access that as a city letter carrier? I can't. You know why? Because it's confidential. It's confidential and sensitive. That's why. It's a daily snapshot of the route performance. What's that got to do with me? What about, why do I need to be concerned with Route 2? I'm Route 11. Why do I need to be concerned with Route 2's route performance, or how they did that day, or how many times they were stationary or backing or missing their office time or missing their street time? How does that benefit me? It doesn't. It's just another avenue to fuck with us, to bully us, to single people out because you fat motherfuckers can't do your fucking job, so you want to try to come after us. Copies of any and all contractual provisions or MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, USPS policy, ELM provisions, or other language in this place, management sites that allow such data to be posted publicly on postal workroom floor. Same question and answer as question 3. Article 3. Copies or answers of any information to include emails, text, receipts, etc. Who purchased or brought the dry erase board, There have been many boards on the floor. Some of those have been updated to bigger boards. So there you have it. Who cares? Who cares if we embarrass y'all? Who cares if we single y'all out? What does that matter? Y'all are just numbers to us. We don't care if we embarrass the shit out of y'all. We don't care if we humiliate y'all in front of your brothers and sisters. We don't give a damn about that. Who are y'all? You're fucking numbers to us, right? We have to come after y'all so they don't come after my fat ass for sitting in here not doing anything. We don't care to belittle y'all. We don't care about that. We don't care to harass y'all, humiliate y'all in front of your peers. We don't care that suicide rates among city letter carriers is higher than it's ever been. We don't care about that shit. All we care about is getting y'all out of the street so my fat ass can go in there and eat a bag of Funyuns and a fucking Whopper and not do shit all day long. So we'll fuck with y'all. Fuck these motherfuckers. That's what I say. Fuck all of them. Hell, I wasn't going to do that. I was just educating today. I was in a fucking good mood, man. I had my physical the other day. Now, this is not good. My physical is good, but this is sad. My wife, her first husband, the father of her son, he found out a couple of weeks ago that he had cancer. And he's already dead. He's already dead. Couple of weeks, man, and he's dead and in the ground. So when that happened, of course, they were devastated. You know, her son was devastated. And so, rightfully so, it's his dad. And so she tells me, you're going to go get a physical. You're going to go get a physical this week because I don't go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor and I go to my physical and I got to lose some weight. I'll give you that. I got to lose some weight. He said I was about 6'1", 259, trying to get down to 250. Okay, playing weight. So I'm 6'1", 259. But so they took my blood pressure, and the lady is like, I need to take that again. So I'm thinking, that's not good. That's not good. So she takes it again, and she's like, do you know what your blood pressure is? I said, well, usually it's pretty good. But, you know, I've been traveling a lot, dealing with a lot. I'm thinking, is my blood pressure high? I don't need my blood pressure to get high. She's like, you got the blood pressure of a 17-year-old. I said, that's good, right? She said, that's great. It's 118/70. I said, hell yeah. So I told the guys at work, they asked how my health was, and I came back and I told them my blood pressure, and it's like, that's hard to believe that all the traveling you do and all the shit on social media. And I tell them, I'm telling y'all, I don't stress and I don't worry. Now, when my daughter when I was worried about, you know, when she had that health scare, okay, I was stressed. I was worried, but I don't stress. I don't worry. People on Facebook talking, that shit don't, a scrawny little motherfucker on a keyboard does not concern me ever. And so, but yeah, so I wasn't going to do that today though. Shit, I was chill today. I was having a good time. But anytime I get into shit where they fuck with us, it pisses me off though. But so that's going to be the episode today. I still got so many screenshots, but I'll do that next Monday. All right. I got so many screenshots left. We'll cover that next Monday, but I wanted to cover those two things. But hey, Light Blue, we're coming, baby. We are coming. All right. I love y'all more than I could ever tell you. I love you more than I could ever tell you. And when we get in there, we're going to show you. All right? We're going to show you. You need street fighters right now more than at any time in our history. You need street fighters. These people talking about, and you'll hear this a lot, experience. What experience do we need? What has experience gotten us? Experience has gotten us Renfro. Experience has gotten us Table 2. Experience has got us the CCA position. Experience has got us bending over to management like never before, conceding every fucking thing. Experience has got us backlogged at B for 50,000 cases. That's what experience has gotten us. Maybe it's the wrong kind of experience. Institutional knowledge will have that. I'm not concerned about that. We need experience on fighting. We need experience on street fighting. That's what we need. Nobody has more experience than James Henry when it comes to street fighting. His entire career has been fighting for the city letter carrier. There is no resume that comes close to James Henry. Right now, what we need more than anything else is integrity. He's the only one that's got it. And fighting. Nobody can touch his resume. But that's what's coming, okay? That's what's coming, and he's surrounding himself with those individuals that are adept at fighting and street fighting. And the ticket's growing. The slate is growing, okay? But we're going to win. Don't concern yourself with anything else. Don't concern yourself with these labor charges, with this violation of the labor law. Don't concern yourself with that, all right? We're ahead of the game on that, okay? We're ahead of the game on that. And so it should piss y'all off that something so blatant's happening, but don't concern yourself with it. I don't want my people stressed, all right? I'm not stressed. I don't want y'all stressed either, all right? Y'all have a fantastic rest of the week. Buffalo, we'll see y'all. This will probably come out tomorrow, maybe later tonight. So we're going to see y'all Tuesday night, okay? We'll be there in force. Y'all come and holler at us. I love you like blue. There's nothing I'd rather do. There's nothing I'd rather do than take care of you and fight for you. And that's what's happening. So I'll talk to y'all next Tuesday, all right? Y'all have a great week. Bye.